respond to that. So if we feel that a therapy referral is necessary, talking with them about that and making that referral, or encouraging maybe a little more exercise, getting them down to exercise here at 10 o'clock, trying to encourage that involvement. But getting them involved in making those care decisions. Bethany staff will assist the resident in identifying appropriate community providers of services that are available to meet their needs. So if we see a need, if they identify a need, helping fill that need with whatever service is most appropriate, whether it be with us or from the broader community. Bethany staff must inform the resident on how to request a new assisted living provider. So that's a referral to social services or to the administrator, DON, facility director, resident services coordinator, whichever is appropriate. All residents must have a care plan signed by the resident or their legal representative. It must describe the services provided, be revised and reviewed at least annually, or as needs change, it must be resident-centered. It must include the resident's input. Care plan meetings must be held and scheduled at a time convenient for the resident family, so that's something we've started doing a lot more of over at Meadows. I know with the nursing home side, it's required to be done quarterly. We're starting to get those implemented over at Meadows, especially as we see changes, getting resident involvement and getting ahead of those changes just to help with better overall planning, especially as our residents' needs change. Resident representatives must be made aware of how to schedule a care plan meeting when their needs change. This will be included in the resident handbook. Documentation must be present regarding reasons why specific service requests can't be accommodated. So if there's a reason we can't fill a need, we have to document that and then try to provide that service from the broader community. Bethany must provide resident activities and provide information education regarding broader community activities and facilitate access to those activities based on resident needs and desires. So I feel we do a really good job of that out here, and getting residents involved, gauging activities that interest them, and reaching out to those folks too that maybe don't come to a lot of activities, making that attempt at outreach to try to get them involved. And residents do have the right to decline that as well. It doesn't mean we stop trying, it doesn't mean we stop trying to figure out what would get them involved, but it is their right to decline those as well. Bethany must promote participation in outside activities, but we don't have to pay for those, but we do try to facilitate those. Sometimes that's as simple as transportation or calls to area providers to try to accommodate that. Bethany must arrange or provide transportation to the community. Bethany must allow residents to leave whenever they desire to attend outside activities. So again, there's no hours, they can come and go as they please. Bethany must offer alternative meals or ADL assistance to allow residents to attend outside activities. So again, being able to plan ahead, knowing that resident preference so we can be planful to support those desires. Resident choices to be respected regarding activity community participation at Bethany and in the broader community, and residents are to have equal access to TV, radio, etc. Access to financial resources. Residents have the right to choose their banking and financial resources, and they are allowed to have access to their funds and other personal resources. Residents must have the opportunity to shop and make choices consistent with their preferences, and Bethany must follow rules regarding rep payee and resident trust fund management. So for the most part, we don't touch or have much of anything to do with our residents' personal funds, with very few exceptions where we are either a representative payee for that resident, and that's a legal agreement. That's not something that's easily gotten into, or resident trust fund management, which we keep a close eye on. So just as a general rule, if a resident asks for financial help, advice, we can't give that. There are, please direct them to administration so we can try to find the right resource for them. We just don't want to be giving financial advice or helping with anything like that. Work and volunteer. Residents may work and volunteer in the community as they choose. Bethany will offer alternative meals or ADL schedules to accommodate resident work or volunteer schedule needs. Bethany will arrange transportation and other supports to assist residents who wish to work or volunteer. Bethany will facilitate access to materials, advertising, work, or volunteer opportunities, and residents may participate in meaningful non-work activities within the Bethany community for the period of time that they desire. So we do have some residents that take active role in volunteer in groups. We have some residents that volunteer their time at the country store, and some that go and do that out in the community. So we want to be sure that we're supporting that, making them aware of opportunities when those arise, and providing equal access to those. Staff education, so mandatory general orientation and annual training for all employees, what we're doing here today. Policies and procedures to be developed, copies be made available to residents and staff. So these are in our policy handbook, and it is something that we're looking at updating as well with whenever we have these changes occur, and I anticipate more changes down the road. Employees must read and reference policies and procedures. If you ever have a question on policy procedure, please ask. Any questions on any of that? Going once, going twice. Let's look at the quiz. I believe it was the pinkish sheet on there. True or false, both private pay and Medicaid residents are to have the same access to the broader community, Bethany common areas, and living areas and services? True. True or false, residents can receive visitors at all hours, any day of the week? True. True or false, residents have many choices on access to food, including menu alternatives, whether or not they wish to prepare their own meals or snacks, the time they wish to dine, and who they sit next to in the dining room? True. True or false, Bethany has a grievance procedure. Staff are to be knowledgeable of the grievance procedure process and must assist residents in filing a grievance when necessary? True. True or false, Bethany staff can unlock and enter a resident room at any time? False. True or false, MedPass can be provided in the dining room without documented residents' permission? False. True or false, Bethany staff must ensure the residents' right to dignity, respect, and privacy at all times? True. True or false, residents must have access to kitchen and laundry appliances as they desire? True. True or false, it is not necessary to have a care plan or care plan meetings in assisted living? False. And last but not least, true or false, Bethany must accommodate resident meal and ADL needs in accordance with their work or volunteer schedules? True. Thank you very much.